Testing. Hello and
Yeah,
welcome
I'm here.
back to welcome back to Play and Talk. This episode of Play and Talk. Again, we were going to play Anthem, but Shadowhawk felt it would still feel a little bit awkward. Maybe soon.
So probably next time though. Yeah, for this one, it just still felt a bit awkward too, and especially because of people freaking out with Dragon Age 4 though. So I
What?
especially just wasn't wanting to
Yeah,
have that there.
yeah. I really want to bring it up. It's just that Dragon Age 4 thing is like a nothing burger. As you know, you ever read 538? Nate said nothing burger at a couple of points, so I just want to say it. It's like it's in.
It's always for me a huge feeling of misguided concern though. Really, if I mean areas that people would be concerned of that would be fine for me would be things like, especially after that story of BioWare's leadership. Fine, that's something that's absolutely worth being very concerned with, because we still don't know really how it's going there. But for to be concerned about things as a live service game is really just a bad thing for it, because it's nothing more than a business model. And also because it's games as a service doesn't mean the single player is going to be somehow drastically affected. GTA 5 for the last several years now, they've all have been a games as a service for however as long as it's been out though. Like maybe a
6 years,
few
I
months
think.
after launch,
Yeah,
but still. Yeah,
6
about
years.
6 years. I know I was like in junior year when it came out though. Either that or sophomore year. I can't even remember high school though. One of those two. Actually, my sophomore year. But yeah, it's just, I think of that though. It's been a games as a service for almost as long as that was out, and the single player and multiplayer are completely divorced from each other. In BioWare's recent tracks with Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect Andromeda, and Dragon Age Inquisition,
I was going to put that out.
those games were.
It's like
Those are
that.
also games as a service, but they don't really affect much either.
Are people that dance or have short memories?
I mean, okay, the multiplayer was pretty ingrained in Mass Effect 3. I haven't played Inquisition, so I don't know how
It's not that
it was in
ingrained,
there.
but it is. But you're right, it is
But in
ingrained
Mass
for.
Effect 3,
Yeah.
the monetization wasn't even really affected by that, though. I mean, you played the multiplayer and tried to play it so that way you could have more for when the final battle hits, though, so it would determine what ending you had. But that's about it, and once again, it was never affected by it, though. And also, you have to touch the multiplayer to even accomplish that. There's a website that I've constantly been using that BioWare set up when the game first came out,
Oh, yeah.
to where you could still amass your military forces without it.
Yeah, I've done that. I tried that out a couple times. Well, speaking of Mass Effect 3, guess who completed their
The
finally?
only reason I've had the perfect endings is because I found out about it.
Yeah, speaking of Mass Effect 3, guess who finished playing Mass Effect 3?
I'm guessing you did.
Yeah, my character. So for Madison Shepard, I chose synthesis. I made my reasons in the video I posted online. And from her perspective,
Yeah, I can understand.
yeah, from her perspective,
Yeah, so I could understand why.
yeah,
I still personally think that Destroy is the best, but I can see why
Yeah.
people would think Synthesis
Only
is.
if you want to win.
yeah. I came upon a couple of polls on which ending people picked. First place, kind of fighting was
Steamed up
destroyed.
and ready to burn.
Second place,
Grapple, locked and loaded.
It's a fine line.
So yeah, it's just
Avoid
really
death as
though.
closely
Yeah.
as possible.
But
yeah, and
but really, other than that though, much has been the same.
yeah,
At least I liked the new sort of poster or GIF that the EA Star Wars page had for Jedi Fallen Order.
This is
Oh.
the
So
champion.
looking forward to that with at least open eyes on it. If I were to say what my only
Actually, I wrote a speech.
concern is
You know what,
is
forget it,
if
let's
they
just
end
fight.
up, despite the story having to be about you trying to stay alive while the Jedi Purge is happening, because the game takes place immediately after Episode 3.
Immediately?
And my main concern... Huh? Yeah,
Immediately?
immediately after, like, the Jedi Purge you see in the movie, the events take place basically around there.
what is it you
So
concerned
I would
about?
say, though, for that... my main concern is if it ends up not really actually going through with that, if it ends up being another hack and slash, though, that we've already had in Star Wars games prior. And those other ones, I thought it was fine because there was nothing contradicting the story. This one, because that you're supposed to be someone on the run, someone who's trying to lie low so that the Empire doesn't catch you, it would feel super out of place to have that but you're leaving a trail of bodies to the next objective, and somehow they can't find it.
Yeah, on the other hand, there's got to be some fun in the game because,
There has to be fun, but I think it can be a very survival-oriented one, like basically how stealth games have done it, where it's all
like
about
Dishonored.
you go with the enemy, but you try to avoid them. Or like as Star Wars Explained said, much like The Last of Us, where you try to avoid confrontation, and where maybe fighting a trooper or two isn't an immediate death sentence, but try to go like 3 troops or higher, and it absolutely is. Not to mention the game explicitly has you framed as a Padawan during this, so it especially should be that maybe you have some combat training from the Clone Wars, but not really much, and especially not enough to go and take down a whole squad of stormtroopers on your own, or at least when this game is taking place, very early clone troopers.
Hey, do you know what this? Do you know what you told me reminds me of? Dishonored. I
What?
only played the Dishonored game. The second one came out, and there was like a bit of a third game, technically a third game. Yeah, but what you told me about it basically sounds a lot like Dishonored. Yeah.
I mean, that's just basically again what I would not really what I would say necessarily going for, because I've never played Dishonored, but it sort of acts like that, yes. Where it's just something that I feel would be much better suited for something like that, rather than, again, if it's just a hack and slash, you're leaving a trail of bodies behind, though, when the narrative has to be, look, the Jedi are being hunted and exterminated, you have to try to lie low so that they don't find you.
Yeah.
But apparently you're leaving a trail of bodies, and they're like, man, I have no idea where this person is. I mean, yeah, have the lightsaber action in there, of course, though. Have us fight 1 or 2 of the Inquisitors, though, from the Star Wars comics. Sure, that's all well and good. It's just that I want them to downplay that, and so that they really emphasize this is a survival story.
Watch out for the new kill.
Yeah, in the Dishonored games, the more people you kill, the worse outcome you get. So
And that's what I sort of would want, though. Like, maybe you could kill a trooper or 2, and outside of maybe knowing, though, it'll be a hard time. But if it is going to be, like, you're killing dozens of them, then it's going to be, oh, yeah, we have a pretty good idea where this guy is. That's what I'm hoping for.
we just
anyway.
had to, we just had to wait and see. Lightsaber looks
Yeah, because the
interesting,
trailer
though.
comes out on Saturday.
Saturday?
Is when the trailer is going to drop at on Star Wars Celebration. There's going to be a panel where they discuss about the whole game, and then the trailer is going to be releasing there. It was confirmed by Jay Ingram, though, that a trailer was coming out for it. But the question really is just going to be as to what exactly it is.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that trailer goes down. I won't be able to watch it live because I'm going to be at work while all that's going down. So I'll just have to wait and see. But at the very least, I'm still pretty hopeful for what it will be. I just really hate fucking reading the comments because of people trying to say, oh, I hope they don't cancel it, even though it's this late into it and you actually can't.
Sorry, the way the show just made me laugh.
It's just, for me, so fucking tiresome to try to hear that, even though that, unlike the other ones, we actually have more information and a trailer's coming out for it. Something none of the other 2 games have, and I hate that they're also trying to act like somehow that EA has this huge list of canceling Star Wars games, when so far the person looking at them for canceled Star Wars games, LucasArts, is really not that far behind. Every game that they created, there was 1 or 2 that they canceled, and those are the ones we know about. God knows the amount of projects they canceled that we don't know.
Speaking of LucasArts, I heard that Disney has reopened LucasArts.
No, they haven't. The thing is that a lot of people have been not sure what they mean, though, and as Jay, the community, who has been a community member who is relays information about Star Wars games going out, is that no, that's not LucasArts. What actually is happening is that those guys are people they've been working on, and effectively they're sort of the approval team of it, and that's also what they've been working on, so that way they can have a more organized team on it. Because
that makes sense.
currently, for like Battlefront 2 and the way they've been approving Star Wars content, it's been terrible, to be quite frank, though. They take way too long for approvals and often don't even relay the information until the very last minute, which is not sustainable. I've been following when it was the Count Dooku, the month when Count Dooku came out, and especially during Anakin and the large-scale game mode, and we would be waiting forever, and only at the very last minute would we actually hear anything. Ben and the rest of the community members who talk to them very frequently have addressed, though, for this, and even said not so politely that it's not enough. So they're trying to hire better people so that the process can be improved. So
Okay,
for me,
okay.
that's what they've been doing, though.
Oh,
That's why
okay.
when you look at the job postings, there's never been anything such as designers or concept art that
So marketing,
they've all been
marketing,
labeled as
publishing.
producer-like
Okay,
roles.
licensee. I was really confused about that for a minute. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, a lot of false information was on it, so I can understand why someone who's eager for that. The thing is, why what my feelings on LucasArts is that while they definitely made great games, though, I mean, obviously both KOTOR games, which were the only great ones, Republic Commando was still good. I'd say still is good, even
Yeah,
if it is
yeah,
dated in
yeah,
parts.
yeah. The character,
And other games,
the
though,
character's not getting appears in Clone Wars, so technically it might be
they
canon.
could definitely come back, though. But my biggest issue is the fact that people treat everything they release like it was somehow the greatest thing we ever had, even though it
Star
wasn't.
Wars Connect.
Star Wars Connect, though, there was also the second Force Unleashed one, which is actually pretty bad on it. As just one example.
Yeah.
For that, though, there was also plenty of the throwaway games. I mean, honestly, for me, like, even the original Battlefront games are super dated for me at this point, to where outside of being able to enjoy something like Galactic Conquest, which is something I can only enjoy one round of, and then I'm like, I don't really feel like doing another one of it, and then I just leave the game for it. So I would say it's incredibly dated there, and plenty of their other games so that don't really hold up, though. And again, not to mention the dozens of Star Wars games, such as off the top of my head, the Darth Maul solo Star Wars focused game, which they were going to be released, but they ended up not actually doing.
Let me get you. Hang on.
So,
Oh, I didn't know you have a
know that
plastic.
much, yeah.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
So yeah, stuff like that, though, which is something that, just off the top of my head, that Star Wars Imperial Starfighter, which was going to be which was going to be on a sequel to Jedi Starfighter, and Star Wars Imperial Commando, among plenty of others.
Oof. Okay, so we're both down. Does the new game mode involve boarding ships in the current Battlefront 2, or like you fly in your ship, fly out in the ship, and you can have the option to board the ship. Do you get that option? In,
Wait, I'm sorry, what happened?
do you still does one of the game modes, like the new game modes, allow you to board ships, like capital ships?
Yeah, that's what the
Inside the
objective
next
is. The
ring.
way the mode
I
works
love this.
is that on the ground, you end up capturing command posts. You have to capture a minimum of 2, and whoever is the first one to reach 50 troops, your boarding ship will end up going down, will descend, and then you have 30 seconds to be able to board it. Each soldier that boards on adds 3 reinforcements for when you go in. So at minimum, you will be going in with 50 troops, but when you get up to more, you can get up, my typical number, at higher ones, it's always been somewhere at the level of 90 troops, though, on better games, but it's very easy to go over 100, though, because 3 times 10 is 30, obviously 3 times 20 is 60, so you can put at the very best, like, if you miraculously have every troop go on, you can board the ship with 110 troops, and those are the only reinforcements you will have. It will not replenish when you're on the ship. Once you board it, you have to first open the doors so that way you can access the reactor room. After you unlock the doors,
Listen, I've been training
you
all
end
day,
up,
so it's about time to,
you
do
end
some
up
fighting.
having to go to the reactors. There's 2 of them you have to do, and however much
Pay
you are
attention,
able to select for however much time you end up being able to get the reactor to overloading, that's saved even when they disable it. So if you manage to blow up the reactors, you have a cutscene where you win and you see the ship get destroyed. If you don't, the battle on the ground starts over, and the opposing team will start off with 3 command posts and you with 2, and it's just a huge back and forth until whichever of you destroys the ship. It's an extremely fun game mode. I love playing it.
Yeah, that reminds me of one of the PvP matches from Star Wars: The Old Republic.
So yeah, it's a super fun mode, and in my opinion, it's definitely like the best thing that's came to the game. There's a new map of it coming out later on April 24th, and then there's going to be another map in May. So we'll be having 3 maps there, and so we can try to see how it'll be, though. So it'll basically also a 4th map that's going to be out, I believe, in June.
All right.
So for that, we're basically going to be,
Hang on.
So for that, we're going to be seeing what those maps are though when they announce more information. And then since EA Play is going to be at at E3 this year, so I have no doubt they'll also announce more content drops during that time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to bring.
A bit more of a side to BioWare. I hope, from what I've heard, they've been working out their leadership issues, and I hope, and it will take time. That I am aware of. I just hope that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. Is that they manage to fix their.
It'll take time.
Issues though.
It'll take time.
Oh, no doubt. This is not something you can implement overnight.
Yeah.
So that's just what we have to hope for.
Yeah. Anyway, have you seen the little trailer theme for Evangelion that's gonna be out on Netflix?
What for Netflix?
Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's gonna be out on Netflix in June. I think it's June.
I don't really have Netflix, so I haven't really been keeping up though. I mean, the only service I have is Amazon Prime, and even then, my mom ends up using it more than I do.
Why does she end up using it
champion, huh?
more than you do? Just
It's mainly just because like I usually am not feeling in the service like TV show watching mood usually. Not because of anything against it. It's just I just haven't felt the desire to.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's why I would always do that.
There are, I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but there's been talk that there's been a redub of Neon Genesis Evangelion. So expect Spencer as Shinji, not in that version.
So yeah, hopefully though it ends up being good though.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just mainly the stuff that's there. And definitely as of recently, I actually now just have been on a rewatching the first 3 Terminator movies that were there because when I was on Twitter though, and specifically when Mahler was even being addressed though, and he was saying how one of his favorite movies was T2, so I remembered even saying that and just being shocked that he could actually do that because again, he's the person who basically spearheaded that whole effectively doing the whole TLJ was bad thing though. And so specifically because he is this person who really wants to push this whole like objective art critique, what's objectively good or bad movies, and considering the standard by which he has, it made me super shocked that he would consider T2 one of his most favorite movies, because that movie is, even though TLG hardly breaks any logic, but going by his imagination by how much it breaks, Terminator 2 breaks so much more logic than it could hope for.
Time travel too. Time travel, and you think Doctor Who was bad with the time travel rules.
Like, for example, speaking of time travel there, the T-1000 is purely liquid metal, but the rules around it are that you have to have flesh and blood in order to pass through. Unlike the T-800, which can disguise itself with that because it has real human blood, hair, and such, but the T-1000 doesn't. So then, by the movie's internal rules, the events of T2 shouldn't even have happened. Second, though, other things, though, such as how exactly Sarah has this friend who has stockpiled dozens of weapons, not even just standard assault rifles, but also how her friend has access to an M134 minigun. Something that, unless you have amazing military connections, you will never have access to that.
Yeah.
So it's a big yeah. I really cannot see though how you could think that you'll somehow be able to say that it's not there. So I decided, oh man, after seeing that, it's been so many years since I watched the Terminator movie. So we watched the first and second one though for the first time in like years. Many years, and still go, yep, I still think these movies are masterpieces though, even despite some logical things though, which never bothered me, but just things I noted though. Still love those movies. On Terminator 3, which is always the one that's super mixed among the fan base, I still like it. I think it's more of a good, I would say more of just a
good enough?
Okay movie rather than anything though. That's at least what I would say.
That's where I thought I saw something. I saw Terminator Salvation, the one with Christian Bale in it.
I honestly think that one was actually just a really bad movie, personally, because of all the stuff that was there. Sam Worthington is just, outside of only, I would say, Black Ops 2, he was not really ever that good of an actor. So I would say there was that.
Just in Black Ops 2?
And just in general, Yeah, he voiced Alex Mason in the game. Well, that's probably the only performance he did where I actually thought was legitimately good. But so far, yeah, I just thought the movie was really bad, and also because Christian Bale, even though I feel like he could actually make a good John Connor, the problem I have with it is that he still is in that tone, which was like a lot of the case though. When he was,
the Batman
still
voice,
famous
like
for doing Batman.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm shooting the shoe face.
like yeah, where he just has like you say human and speaks in that very Batman's voice to where when I'm watching it, I often feel like just at any moment he's just gonna throw on the bat suit.
Okay, so whoever set up these zip lines, you're a genius.
So yeah, that's what I say is why it makes it really hard to see. Haven't watched Genesis, but from the few clips I have seen of it, it looks terrible. But I'm still gonna watch it just so I can see what my opinion of the full movie is. Probably when I get paid on Friday,
Yeah,
and I'll probably
that's
rent that. So
well, it has Matt
it's
Smith
just
in it.
there, like so for
Whoa.
so watching from it though, I still remember things like just recently I watched a clip of where
Give him my shield to
where
recharge.
the popped T-800 though ends up fighting the original one from the first movie, and the CGI on that Arnold just looks terrible. I'm talking like really bad.
Ooh, that bad? I never seen it. Oh shit! Fuck
I
me.
did personally from that, and like, it just felt like just a very oh my god, this just looks really bad.
Getting beat up over here. Yeah.
Is much more than shooting a gun.
Hey, you know.
So I'm gonna watch the rest to see, but just that, and also because Jai Courtney, who plays Kyle Reese in the movie, he's just not a good actor. You would know Jai Courtney is playing Captain Boomerang.
I remember. You know Sekiro and
Yeah.
Sekiro and about the accessibility thing. I haven't put so much time into it. It's just like, why is everybody worked over like difficulty mode this game like that?
I'm sorry, what happened?
I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. It's Sekiro, I believe it's pronounced that way.
Sekiro, yeah, that's right though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of say for it's an easy mode. I often say like, sure, let developers do what they want, but it's, I mean, again, I haven't seen anyone trying to boycott them or do anything like that. But for me personally, I do just have more of the thought to it that I believe that developers should be allowing stuff like that, so that way people, as many people can play as possible. And people saying that somehow that if you don't, that having that there somehow diminishes the game. But I would ask, why do you have to play it on the easier difficulties if you're all about having that that whole beating it on the hardest level thing? I mean, to put in comparison, that would be like saying that being able to play the Halo games on easier difficulties is somehow a bad thing for that. Like, me being able to play it on normal doesn't take it away from you beating it on Lasso.
I just find it really stupid that like easy diminishes the artistic intent of the game.
Like, if you want to also take it in, and this is like other people, like even Jesse Lambdo on Twitter even brought it up, though, with things like Game Genie from the NES, SNES, and even Sega Genesis era, like back then when it came to how to beat the harder games like Ninja Gaiden, those original ones, and for ones, the games that were notorious for huge difficulty, people weren't all talking about beating them through like, oh man, here are some strategy, here's how to beat it through more normal means. No, it was all about finding cheats that were using codes that were in the game, like with what Game Genie had. It wasn't about beating the game by playing the rules. It was about trying to break the rules and trying to use your best advantage.
Or Battletoads, 3rd level. Fucking god.
Are either you're with me or you're against me, or
so
you're
yeah,
with me and against
that's
me,
what you would do if the game
I'll be
got
honest,
super
that happens
hard.
sometimes.
You would literally just pop Game Genie in and see what codes it had.
Yeah.
Although I was merely exposed to Game Genie through James Rolfe, AVGN character, who frequently used it. I remember two of them being for the first Ghostbusters NES game, as well as also for Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But the Frankenstein game had just hilarious codes, such as almost unlimited energy,
Almost.
infinite life after. infinite health after losing the first life may cause the game to freeze. Start with no continues, cannot collect extra energy, and one hit is fatal.
Here we go. Ready up.
Wow. If
It's
it
like, what
changed
kind of
role,
modes are these? Is this like some sick fuck who doesn't think the game isn't hard enough that it just wants to start you some more? Well, how about we just have a code that just starts you off dead?
Yeah, if change roles can use codes that makes either the game harder or easier.
Well, I wouldn't say that I laugh at his newer stuff much though, but his older stuff is still things I go back to and go, out of all the YouTube stuff I've watched, even especially the ones that have just not really aged well, I would say James Rolfe's content is the one that has aged the best out of all the older YouTube content.
Oh, sir. They're hitting me.
Okay, that
I mean,
was
his AVN stuff is still just so hilarious though to watch though, and I was even just watching his other stuff that recently.
Yeah.
Shit.
sorry
That person
about
must have had shields on because I was shooting the crap out of him and was not killed.
I thought my phone was off. Ooh, there's another
So-
players versus environment event for Overwatch coming up. Yeah, my brother and I play the crap out of them because my brother and I are not exactly into PvP games. Yet we're playing Apex Legends, so whatever.
I mean, I just think Apex Legends is just a really fun game to play, though. So it's just something that's there. I don't really play by myself. It's just like only instances like with you, or if it was with other friends,
Yeah.
that I feel with it because I don't like playing this. PUBG, on the other hand, I'm actually the opposite experience where I prefer playing alone in that one
Because
but
of the
for games
atmosphere.
Like this, I
yeah.
just
because
prefer,
the atmosphere.
yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, because the atmosphere, basically.
speaking of
Because
Netflix-
PUBG feels like the game that is meant to be played alone, but they give you the option to play with multiple people because, it's nice to have that option anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas Apex does have that opposite feeling where it feels very oriented to come up with a group of people because you're playing with groups, though, by default. So it's best to play it with friends rather than alone.
yeah. Have you looked at the casting for Netflix take on Cowboy Bebop?
I looked at the cast on it, though. It looks promising. I
Yeah.
love John Cho, though.
He's
So
in
I
Searching.
think that him being
he's
cast
he's in
as the
Searching.
main one, so...
Yeah, he's in Searching. So
Oh.
he wasn't Searching. Heard it was really good.
No, I watched Searching. It was easily one of my most favorite movies of last year. It was really high, easily top 5 for me. I watched it in the theater. It was really great. Once I end up getting a new laptop, I actually am thinking of doing what some people have tried suggesting, though, which is that try watching the movie on a computer so that it can try to enhance, because people say it enhances the experience, which I could easily see, though, because the movie takes place basically through the
Unfriended, but better.
viewpoint of computers.
Like Unfriended,
Yeah,
but
like
better.
either on someone's iPhone or their laptops or their computer. And yeah, watching it was terrific. I very much love the movie. Easily top 5 movies of last year for me.
Yeah. Oh, have you?
So I would say him being cast, definitely worth it. I don't know how really he is in action-oriented stuff. I've never really watched Cowboy Bebop, so I can't
did.
really ever said that I was gonna.
It's been so long since I watched Cowboy Bebop, but of the episodes I remember it being really
I
good.
mainly knew about it because it was that show that really blew up Steve Bloom's career afterwards.
Oh yeah, my brother actually met him at one of the Comic Cons back in 2017. No, not gaming con.
Steve Bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Bloom is the very first actor I've actually ever met. I met him at Star Wars Celebration 3 years ago. Well, 2 years ago, actually, when it was Star Wars Celebration 2017. And so he was the first actor I was meeting up after I saw the Battlefront 2 panel, as well as also the Star Wars Rebels panel. And so when going through there, after I was just waiting, and they said, like, oh, hey, Steve Bloom's photo op is up, though. So I went inside, I met him. Jesus, that guy was like the coolest person ever.
Yeah.
Like, I just met him, and he's just like, hey, buddy, how you doing? He's just shaking my hand, talking to me, though, basically just having a short conversation. Took our photo, and I just let him know right before leaving that I was looking forward to him in Star Wars Rebels because Season 4 was was announced, and then telling him that I also was looking forward to his, because I knew he would voice Green Lantern in Injustice, and he's like, oh, you're going to love this game, bud, I promise. And he was right. I ended up loving Injustice 2. Easily, for me, my most favorite game of 2017.
Yeah. That was a really good game.
Honestly, I think that especially the scene that sold me as it though was when Batman and Superman talked at the end of the game.
Oh
though.
yeah,
Fighting on
I
both
love it.
sides, it felt like old times.
Speaking of DC,
but I guess we both knew it would end this way.
Yeah. Speaking of DC, my brother, my dad, and I went out to go watch Shazam.
You know, I don't take myself too seriously.
What'd you think of it?
I don't take myself
It was
anywhere,
fun.
really. I need to get out more.
I wasn't expecting what happened right at the end. I got to see like a cameo by Superman. Didn't get to see his face though.
One, try to stop me.
Well, yeah, I would say for me, I personally watched it. I freaking love Shazam. It's definitely my most favorite of the new DC movies that have came out. It's just that I just couldn't help with this because also I've always been a fan of Captain Marvel since I was a kid.
Yeah,
well,
Shazam.
But when I was
Oh
a
my
kid,
God, it's
I
just
knew it
like
was Captain Marvel because
that just comes to times
He was
with
called
it's complicated.
Yeah, sort of like that. It's a complicated thing to say because as a kid, I grew up calling him Captain Marvel because that's what he was still called in Justice League Unlimited and Mortal Kombat versus DC, or DC versus Mortal Kombat. I can't remember which order that was. So yeah, I remember it being called in that. So it's sort of a habit to say that, but it's not too hard to say Shazam either.
Yeah.
So yeah, just watch that. I was always in love with that for the reasons, though, that basically, like, as comic fans could be able to tell you, though, because it was essentially Superman, but instead of just being an adult, it was a kid, though.
It was
obviously being a kid at the time, though.
Yep.
It was just alluring there.
Yeah.
And so it also, I really
love the bad guy trying to go in. I really love the part where the bad guy, floating midair, was gave out this stereotypical monologue. Shazam, like, being quite a ways away. Had trouble hearing him. It's like, what? Well, what? I can't hear you.
That ending scene, though, I'm actually surprised how the trailers didn't end up spoiling a lot of the big beats on there, because any lesser movie would have done so, and they actually managed to avoid that. So major props to the studio for that.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, that Superman shot, though, that's something that I would have already expected in any lesser movie to have, spoiled up in the, over in the trailers, though. But yet, the entire third act was basically unspoiled, and only very select scenes from the first and second act.
Oh, they've been
also especially loved the Foster family in this. When I saw the trailers, I didn't think much of them. I thought they were just going to be more of just characters in the background. But seeing how intertwined they were with the story was just so amazing to see. And especially because it was just, they were just so expertly casted, though. I expected, like, Jack D. Grazer in the film, though. He was just super awesome, though. And I especially like, though, that he has this, like, I'm a disabled kid, so I'm kind of going to be a dick about it throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It was just, to me, just really awesome and added to his character.
Yeah.
And especially, though, I would say like, even from parts of the trailers that I saw still make me laugh, like when they go into the convenience store, like, I would like some of your finest beer, please.
Yeah, that part's great. Have you seen the clip with from a clip from the Avengers Endgame with Captain Marvel and stuff?
I haven't seen it because I want to limit my exposure to it, though. I saw the first two trailers, and obviously I love those, but I want to limit to myself to how much I expose myself.
It doesn't seem like it's a spoiler or anything, so you're good. Oh, okay, I thought that was... Okay.
But I know the scene that you're talking about for it, and yeah, it just to me comes across as just idiotic.
What's the reaction?
Shit. A guy was just already at the position where I was dropped off at. But yeah, so basically, yeah, it was just something that I always found stupid because, yeah, it is the common trend that I find, though, which is that the moment that a woman acts super confident or even just a little bit cocky in what she does, people always act like it's a super terrible thing, even though that's basically been Tony Stark's entire shtick since his movie started the MCU, and he's super loved because of it.
And then I had to point out Mass Effect, the female characters in the series, like, you know, Miranda, especially Miranda, and Jack.
Samara, she's also super there. Kasumi, she's also in the same camp, to where she had no qualms about breaking into that giant mansion that she was going to. I forgot what the guy's name was for her DLC, because it was the same thing. She's like, yeah, this guy doesn't know me, even though he absolutely did.
Yeah.
She was not worried about covering her tracks because, as far as she was concerned, oh, this guy doesn't know me. Hardly anyone does, so this will be an issue. So this won't be an issue. So, and again, though, it always, to me often comes from the fact that I think it was more closer to they were not the main characters, and also you were fighting in those adventures, so it wasn't really like they did it on their own. Because I often find that when it comes to the powerful female characters, the rule I find with these people is you can have them, but the condition has to be that they don't really do things entirely on their own. It has to be that they receive major aid from someone else, typically other guys.
That hardly happens in Captain Marvel, and
Or, as I often say, to refer to anime, oh sure, you can have a Casca, but there has to be a Griffith and a Guts to beat her.
I take it you've watched the Berserk anime. Ooh, speaking of Berserk,
I've watched the original. I haven't watched the rebooted version because I never had Crunchyroll as a personal account, and the animation just really threw me off.
Oh,
because,
yeah. Oh,
again,
God.
that whole sort of
fuck. That animation looks
I don't know if I
bad.
want to say cell shaded, but it comes across as these are guys who really they wanted to make a show, but nobody was really confident that anyone was going to care for one, so they gave them a super small budget, so there wasn't much they could do with it.
Yeah, it looks so
It's
bad.
why I wasn't really able.
Yeah, it looks
Didn't watch it though. I have no opinion of it because again, I have to. My rule is unless I watch something, I don't give opinions. But I will only speak on impressions from it. And yeah, it didn't look that good though. I did like the Berserk movies that came out though. I mean, I at least thought that they were decent enough as is.
I saw the first one, and my brother and I really enjoyed that. I think the Berserk movies are all on Netflix.
I don't know though. I only saw them. I just mainly watched them online. But yeah, I thought for myself that those movies were still really good though, and I really enjoyed them. But I would say that when it came to
dropping the weapon and ammo for you.
Those.
For you.
Oh, thank you then. Yeah, because I was slaughtered by a guy who seemingly was waiting outside of me, waiting outside the ship for me.
I hate spawn killing.
Yeah. Where is it? Oh shit! Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really don't use these type of weapons, so I figured I might. Ooh, care package.
coming in.
Yeah. In the recent manga chapter, Casca has been cured of her insanity.
We're down to 50%
And it
left.
looks
Oh, that's good.
That's some pretty easy math.
I only got 100 issues into the manga though. I think it was the most I made was 115, and I was engaged with it, but I stopped reading because there was just so much on my plate at the time, and even still after that, I just never felt that desire. It felt like there was too much to catch up on. It has that same issue that Naruto has for me, where even if I were very interested, it feels like I just could never fully go and watch it though, because it would just feel like
Heavy ammo here.
too much.
Helmet here. Body shield here. Level 1.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, your mic kind of cut out
hear
for a
me?
sec. Yeah, I can hear you. Your mic kind of cut out for a sec.
I'm not sure why, but yeah. Anyway, that was the main thing though. That I would say that why I didn't stop reading it though, not because I was disinterested, but rather just because a lot was going on even still after high school. So I just never felt the desire to go and finish it, but I still loved what I did read in it.
Yeah, I hear that's a pretty common problem with American superhero comics, like especially Marvel and DC.
I think DC's easier to follow because since they do continuously reboot, you can kind of just start where the reboot starts. Now they're on their Rebirth continuity, so you can basically just start from there and just watch and just read over.
While Marvel has
And Marvel Comics is also sort of the same thing, where their timeline is played as more ambiguously, but it's sort of a rule that you can follow that it's you could still just start from wherever that issue started. Basically as to when exactly something happened, you can always just think a few years ago unless it's explicitly stated. Because Marvel has this big I won't talk about it because you don't talk about it. What the hell was that?
Grenades, explosions, and gas. Someone farted, by the way. I'm fine.
Someone shot me.
Give me a second, I'm healing. Shit.
Faking him out with a decoy.
I am so happy I can use my ability. Because that is a very good tactic that just pulled off. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so... No, you're good.
Okay, better than nothing. Any enemies nearby?
Yeah, there were some that's hanging around the box though that I'm at. Behind you, I think.
Got the banner. Time to get a beacon.
Oh, fuck.
Old. Getting shot at.
You right? Oh, fuck. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, turn invincible. Invisible. God, I keep my team too mixed up. And dead. Look, sounds like you're joking. Hey, have you seen Us? You know, by Jordan Peele?
Oh, I did. I've seen it twice. I freaking love that movie.
Ugh. So is it? Yeah, I heard really good things about it. Sold pretty well for. Yeah, that's impressive. Not surprised that he's part of the Twilight Zone. And yeah, I managed to see the first episode of the new Twilight Zone series, the one with Kumail Nanjiani. He plays the protagonist in the episode.
Who does again?
The guy who played Tan in Mass Effect Andromeda. Kumail
Yeah, I'm saying that actor that you're trying to say though. Who else? He plays who?
The protagonist in the first episode, known as the comedian. Basically,
Oh, okay.
So basically, do you know? So the episode is about him doing these these comedy skits, and whenever he says something personal about himself, like when between someone relate a person to him, that person is gone, altering the timeline.
I haven't really watched that one though, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't really know there.
It's free on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's about an
The
hour
comedian,
long,
is it?
yeah, the comedian, The Twilight Zone. Jordan Peele is the host.
Oh yeah, that one from the Jordan Peele's reboot of the timeline of the Twilight Zone. All right, yeah, I'll definitely try to go and look it up though, when I can.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jordan Peele, for someone who is only pretty new to the movie business and just sat there. Sure, obviously he mainly made his name known in comedy, but when it comes to serious work, he really has chops on it. And again, he's hardly even done so. He's only released 2 movies that I've known of, and now just recently a series.
Impressive track record. My brother and I mentioned a couple of times that you kind of see comedy actors being like horror movies because we both point out that comedy and horror share the same theme, timing.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm sorry they don't speak as much.
Yeah,
as
because
CD.
he has because mainly he's very invested with the 70s era of horror, so that's why it seems that a lot of his stuff that he made, whether it was in Get Out or Us, seems to very much be inspired by that 70s kind of aesthetic for horror.
Remind me what the aesthetic of the 70s was going horror.
Everything is going to be great.
At least from what I could
That's what I keep
understand
telling
of it,
myself.
it was
Let's go
much
for a
his own sensibility, often things that involve doppelgangers, or also just having more higher social messaging basically in there, as opposed to more of what the 80s would do, at least from how I could understand it.
Slashers and gore, got it.
Basically things like that, though. Although that's not to say the 80s definitely horror movies didn't have best things to say. I'm sure they absolutely did. It's just that I've never really dug to it though.
Me.
But I think it's just in the 70s they were just a bit more obvious with it.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the stuff with Borderlands 3?
I haven't really watched it because for Borderlands, I've never personally managed to get into the gameplay, but I've always liked the world that it's surrounded. I think that's often why I ended up loving the Telltale Borderlands episodes.
Yeah. I really love the
instead of
aesthetics for
normal
that game. I really love the aesthetics for the series. Like, it's very comic book-like series aesthetics.
Yeah, I really like that aesthetic as well, though. The aesthetics, the characters, just the world around it, I love. It's just I never could really get into the normal gameplay that was there. I mean, again, that's why I think that the Telltale game is the one I ended up liking the most, because it's something that didn't invest the gunplay and it just focused entirely on the story and characters and setting.
Yeah, shame about Telltale, though.
It was a shame about it, but I would say, though, that I at least hope, though, that unfortunately, there's many of those devs who still don't have jobs. So I am mainly hoping that that ends up getting fixed soon.
Wait, did you say that they may have been so loud? Oh, that really sucks.
Yeah, unfortunately, many of them are still without jobs, though, and they still have to try looking for work, though. So I'm really hoping that it can be gotten eventually. So yeah, it was there, but still, though, I would say
even
that...
after Skybound came to the rescue, that really sucks. I'm sure
I
that
would say, though, that at least the games they made were still great, and I really just hope that they managed to find new work that's there. So hopefully it will be good for them on there.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I say it's often why I like that one the most. But as I say, if you're super excited for Borderlands 3, absolutely be. If you're really what I've seen, I've often disliked the sentiment that says that you shouldn't be excited because this or that game disappointed you. When often I go, it disappointed you was hardly really because it was bad, but because there were oddly specific things that you felt it had to have, and because it didn't, though, you ended up being super pissed off about it. Like, for example, when Fallout 4 was first announced, I was a senior in high school at the time, and yeah, there were many things I was often imagining as to how that game was going to play out. Like, in one of them, I was wondering as to how the spouse and child would play. I was often thinking that based on how your deeds were, that maybe if you were acting, whether it was a good person, a bad person, or like sort of a neutral one, that it would sort of affect as to how your family would see you, similar to how your father was in Fallout 3. But then in the game, that didn't really end up happening. You met the son at least, though, but it didn't really go in that hopeful way where instead he was just the leader of the Institute.
Yeah,
I ended up
I like that.
it, though,
I really like that
because
twist, though.
I did too, though. And I really liked, though, that... And honestly, the reason that it didn't bug me is that anything I speculate or sort of am just thinking of based on what I'm seeing, it's never gone to the point where I end up feeling like it has to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, because it's the difference between entertaining something and being married to the idea. And I would say never be married to the idea.
Yeah. Oh, like shipping. Hey-oh.
Basically. Yeah, it's exactly like that, like shipping. Like, if there's two characters that I go, like Ezra and Sabine from Star Wars Rebels, I go, oh man, those two seem like they'd be really cute together. But them never hooking up in the show never bothered me because, again, I wasn't married to it.
But you'd be a bit on that like, aw, no well.
Yeah, it sort of was that, like, aw, that's too bad, but oh well. So again, that's always why I've always had that issue with it, because to me it always just comes across as people who are too attached to the things that they're speculating on, and then when it doesn't happen, they feel like it's somehow the movie's fault for not going for this very oddly specific request.
Yeah, why would they be so attached to that type of stuff? It's like...
A lot of people just sort of want to see the stuff that they think of come to life, and I understand that desire, but keeping yourself open-minded is always a great way, because you could end up finding yourself being exposed to something that was much better than what you anticipated. Yeah. Like for The Last Jedi for me, and what I was anticipating what Luke meant for the Jedi to end, when I was there, I was expecting something different. I was thinking maybe he was going to build something that would just be a more improved version of what the Jedi were, and not really keeping the name with it, though, just something entirely new. Yeah. But the movie ended up giving me something much better than I thought I would have had, though, and I appreciate that it gave me that.
At the time, my brother was when we saw the trailer, it's time for the Jedi to die.
1 minute. Rings pretty close.
Nicholas initially assumed it was about the old ways of the Jedi. You know, like the new Jedi Order in the Legends continuity.
Yes,
he still likes the movie anyway. I haven't really. I don't remember him what he thinks about Luke being so bitter and like having the Jedi just be gone, like for real.
And honestly, yeah, I would say for doing so, it was great that they did so, especially when he actually returns to his younger self, though, in there, which is what I loved most about it. And honestly, I felt like if he did exactly what I wanted to, or this goes for anything that matter,
it would be boring.
I feel like it wouldn't have aged very well for me.
Yeah, it would be boring. It wouldn't be as satisfactory as like pointing out something, at least trying to pull out something new.
Yes, exactly, from trying to do so. It didn't confirm people's headcanons, and because of that, they thought it was bad for that reason, which, again, is something that is never really smart, but unfortunately, a lot of people just do that anyway.
I actually told someone online, I'm not gonna name names, like life is kind of too short. Just enjoy the things that you enjoy, and you know.
Yeah, it's just things like that where I never understood why you would dedicate time to something that you absolutely do not like on it. I mean, unless for me it comes up in a conversation, I'll bring it up, but I never really talk about the stuff I don't like because, again, it just doesn't feel worth my time, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say as of now, I'll probably be replaying Fallout 76 soon just to see what I would see of it, though, because it's a games as a service, so prone to change. Yeah, and I didn't really like it when it came out at launch. I loved the beta of it, but after I finished everything, it didn't really feel like worth playing, so I stopped, though.
There's
and
new
I
content.
didn't talk about it because
there's
it's just never something.
Yeah, they're new
They're
quests.
releasing a new one. I know. I follow Bethesda, and stuff like that, though. So I just didn't really feel like talking about it, though. And honestly, it just feels like something that is just something that I moved on with my life on. For me, like when my friends, though, like even though they're not serious, but they still like go, and he's like, "What? You were still playing Battlefront 2 even though a year after it's out?" Yeah, because I love it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't be playing it.
Grenade!
Like, it comes to that same thing, though. I never play something because I feel I'm obligated. I only play the games that I'm like, yes, I really do want to play them.
Yeah. I got no argument.
And so, like, that...
And I got no
So
argument.
it's like, conversely, if it's a game that I don't like, I just don't show attention to it. And even then, I especially don't feel like tagging creators in it, because for me, I don't really feel like telling them things outside of, hey, you know, here's the game that I don't like it, here's why. Outside of that, I never, under any circumstance, believe in insulting creatives. I personally think that it's just an incredibly shitty thing to do and something you should never do, regardless of how much you dislike it. I may dislike Terminator Genesis, but I'm still and Salvation, but I'm still not gonna hate on anyone for it.
Yeah, people still joke
Because,
about
again,
like
I feel
Mass
that it's
Effect
not-
and it's like it's been 7 years. Don't you think it's move on? Yeah, don't you think it's time to move on? Boggles the mind sometimes, and I used to be part of this, this group that back then fiction, which is most likely like teenage things you didn't know any better. And it was a pretty stupid decision on my part. Was young at the time.
It's just, for me, something that just feels very tiring to deal with. So for it, that's why I say, though, that disliking things has never been there, but the problem is when it stems to obsession, though.
Yeah.
That always just makes me go, why are you still on this, though?
Because these people,
a lot of people
find
that
it,
often...
find it fun to mock people for their poor writing. For fan fiction. For which people do for
I mean,
in their free
that's just
time.
what I say for it, though. Like, I can say why I dislike something, but I always try to go out of my way to make sure anything I say that is why I don't like something to never be something that insults the creators, though. Because the thing that a lot of people always forget, or it seems that pretty much anyone who isn't immediately working in the industry, is that games are collaborative efforts. There is no such thing as the one person who made a decision that made everything wrong or anything like that. It's hyperbolic, and quite frankly, it's something that's not true.
Oh, are you looking forward to Mortal Kombat 11? That theme looks fun. I don't.
So yeah, that's why. It's just always something that just makes me go, like, just calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Oh, with Disney buying a lot of Fox's assets, people were wondering when exactly the X-Men, Mutants, and the like were going to be in the MCU movies, and turns out not anytime soon, because they got a lot of things packed in with Phase 4 of what I've heard.
I imagine it's mostly because even though that the deal was now finalized, they haven't really planned out how to make them included, so they're trying to do so.
Yeah.
I just also mainly feel like I hope that they don't feel the need to really over-explain, like, oh, why weren't mutants here the whole time, and just go, yeah, they exist now, so here they are.
Make it a new phenomenon. I know it's just speculation on my part. Make them like a new phenomenon, like these people are now getting to the spotlight. Although,
Sort of just like that, though, because that Marvel has always been to just contradict something, though, if it ends up making it more interesting. Like how in the first Iron Man, where S.H.I.E.L.D. is sort of vaguely kind of making it sound like they're a more recent upstarting organization, where they can't seem to still not even have known its own acronym, but then Winter Soldier came around and said, oh no, actually, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been around since just shortly after World War II, and they also have not only a whole team of people and are basically an up branch of the Army, and have a fleet of flying aircraft carriers, and so basically they never felt the need to explain why that discrepancy, just, hey, it's something we wanted to do, enjoy.
Yeah.
Or like how in the first Thor, they basically said many of the magical stuff that'd be throughout the later Marvel movies, especially the Infinity Gauntlet, was just being stored in Odin's vault, but then Thor Ragnarok just said, hey, we were kidding about all that.
Yeah, fake.
Most of the stuff in here is fake. I'll admit that was always for me one of the funniest scenes on it. Fake.
Yeah.
Stuff in here is
Fake. Oh, speaking of, what do you think of how Nick Fury lost his eye in Captain Marvel?
I honestly feel like that's
complicated.
something that's pretty funny, and I really actually like that for a change. Someone's scar isn't like something that a lot of movies or shows try to
like
do.
a badass thing, like
the way they got this scar was super dramatic.
Oh,
they fought off like 1,000 guys, and then one of them got it. It's just a cat scratch to me, basically.
Introducing your champion.
Okay, that's embarrassing.
I feel like that's why when I see people who have like, oh my god, I dislike that's how he lost his eye. It feels like because these people have been raised on so many stories where the scar was of something of super importance, and I guess because also they took the line from Captain America, the Winter Soldier, where he said the last time I trusted someone, I lost my eye. So for a lot of people, take that seriously.
I'm trusting you. You can't.
And that's why I honestly like that for a change, though, where the scar was just, oh yeah, I have it, though, and it was just kind of a stupid reason why I got it.
Now I gotta think
it
of
feels
something
refreshing,
badass.
again.
Yeah, I gotta think of...
Now, trust me, I'm very much not against when the scar is something that's of super big importance, though. I love that as much as the next guy, but it is refreshing that when a big scar that everyone thinks has some super big meaning, and the person is just like, yeah, it happened over something stupid. Like, I honestly feel like it's just really funny, and again, a good refresher for a change.
And it made $1 billion. Take that, assholes.
Yeah, man, I still remember that slogan they often tried to say, which was get woke, go broke, and it's now just like, get woke, make $1 billion.
Yeah, get woke, get rich. The rhyme's better. Whoop!
Again, it always reminds me that these people vastly overestimate what kind of influence they actually do
now we're
have.
talking. Let's do this.
Oh, I still remember even after EA released that survey that they did with professional surveyors and also people who are just, in charge of making sure what people want in games. And then they said, oh yeah, actually the majority of audiences want diversity in their games. And then of course the side trying to act like the majority was like, I'm very skeptical. I'm not really sure if that's what they would want.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing that would be most in EA's interest to know would somehow be something that they would lie about.
Welcome to capitalism, where if you want to get more diverse people paying you money, pay some money. Again, welcome to capitalism. I'm good.
Someone's got to take out the new kill leader. They're too cocky.
All right, that's good.
Enemy killed. I took care of it. Don't worry.
It's like, do these people even know how capitalism works?
But as much as they support capitalism, they don't. I mean, for me, I would say there's still many elements of it that I don't understand. That's why I officially say support in any way. Got him.
Just relax.
Oh, thank God. Could you cover me while... Oh, shit. Could you cover... Nice!
I just did a finish, so...
Say goodbye to that squad.
I killed someone.
Good kill.
As weird as it sounds.
Awesome.
Okay, and I got like a link for knockdown shield. I am good. I am more than good.
1 sec, healing up.
Healing up. Eyes are open though.
Yeah, if you're wondering, I'm a goddamn searcher with a shotgun. And yes, I'm referencing, I think it's Kill Bill. Yeah, Kill Bill. You ever watch Kill
I
Bill?
still have never seen that movie, actually.
I think it's in Kill Bill. With the little reference I made.
No, I'm saying like I've never seen the movie though. I know you said you just referenced it. I'm just saying I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
It was also the name of a perk in Fallout New Vegas. That's where I got it from, and look it up.
What was the perk name?
Shotgun Searcher. You're basically better with shotguns.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a reference to Kill Bill.
Yeah. Oh shit. Pathfinder.
I'm down.
I found a hostile. Reloading.
Don't worry, I'm reviving myself.
You're reviving. Someone take out the enemy.
Okay, I'm good.
Giving my shields a recharge. Get to bamboozling.
Alright, healing up. Might need a med kit though. Oh, by the way, what endgame coming out? What is your favorite favorite Marvel movie so far?
Taking some cash.
My favorite what?
Marvel, like since endgame's gonna be
Well, I'm still kind of debating what it is. I actually think that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is actually my most favorite.
I'm not surprised because it deals with dealing with like lots of like pretty much dealing with.
I mean, just so many great
Roger,
moments
to
in
save the
there.
day.
He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your dad.
Sorry.
I fucking love that line so much. Not because like, I've always had a father figure in one way or another, so I never understand it. But it was just such a fucking great line, and especially for how that fits into Quill.
Yeah, that's really profound. I'm really glad that James Gunn is back. I was under the impression that he's not coming back, in spite of them using his script. I'm glad I was wrong.
Yeah, I'm very happy that they managed to bring him back from that, and so definitely great to see him back for what he has to do, though, because
Yeah. So, who are your favorite like heroes and villains across the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, like including shows?
you've asked me the villain question before.
Yeah, you like who was it you like more? Who was your favorite? I forget. Besides Loki, because
I would mainly say it was Loki, but I still also put Thanos high up there because I just like for what it is, though. Like, even though it's understandable, but still, it's just a very, his idea is insane, which is something that kind of feels normal because, again, the Mad Titan is his name.
yeah, makes me think of the Elusive Man. Now I think about it, and Saren. Hero. I did say hero.
It's sort of that kind of idea.
Yeah. Well, what about heroes, protagonists? I'm thinking.
For protagonists, I still am profoundly, mostly my most favorite would still be Captain America on it. I just love Chris Evans' take on it, and it just in general, he really just, to me, just shows the best that America can be.
Yep.
When it ends up going through there. Hence why I love that, though. I mean, second favorite is definitely going to be Iron Man because of the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is just a terrific actor, and he just really sells the part of rich man who even though he has his arrogant and bad spots, though, he still clearly sports a really good guy underneath, though, even if he can be very hard-headed about it.
My favorite, I'm hands down Spider-Man, because I really relate to him, like a fan of the superheroes, like I am as well. Young, like me mostly. I'm 26, is what, in his late teens. I kind of lost track.
Yeah,
I can win this thing with one eye closed, or both eyes closed.
Hell,
I don't even have to know
Spider-Man more in his college years after Far From Home, I guess.
Yeah, I really like that version of Spider-Man. I have to be honest, out of all the Spider-Man in movies, the MCU version is the one that I like the most. I'm sorry.
I would say for me, I would say, though, that even for that one, though, I still end up liking Tobey Maguire's most, but definitely Tom Holland has been a very close second for me, because I really feel like he has very much known what the character is, though.
Yeah.
And he just really does a lot of good
it's because he's most relatable. Wow, it's like, it hits me in all the right places, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Prepare for battle.
Really sad. I am so relieved that he's coming back, even though that I know he's coming back.
And now, in the meantime, there's going to be Brightburn that will be coming out next month, and then
Brightburn
there's
coming out
also
next
going to be
month?
Gus.
So basically, Jason
Brightburn, yeah, it
Voorhees,
comes out Memorial Day.
Jason Voorhees as Superman. We're fucked.
I wouldn't even say Jason Voorhees because that's not accurate. More of, as many people point out, he's more closer to Ultraman than anything else.
Oh yeah, I remember. Speaking of superhero sites,
So yeah, I would definitely say, really looking forward to seeing how all that plays out.
so I've been on been online, and there's been a bit of a thing with Ultron.
First blood.
Long story, by the way.
Yeah, now we're talking. Let's do this.
I kind of like the design as well. Snarkbot. You don't see Sorry.
I also just really dig how it is though because of this kid who's basically sort of Superman but still not really.
Yeah.
And I really like that scarecrow-esque kind of mask that he wears though. It
Oh,
just
that is
really
it's,
feels
with the red glowing
unnerving.
with the red
Lucky
glowing
us.
eyes.
We're
That's
already inside
that's
this next
super.
ring.
That is super creepy.
And then the rest of his clothes is just nothing more than just what he wears every day though. There's just a very
Mundane,
intimidating
right?
feeling
Yeah.
to me for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mundane.
It's just a shame to me that unfortunately it hasn't really been well marketed. So
Wait.
unfortunately, this comes across to me as a movie that's not going to do too hot at the box office.
More like a cult,
what, even
cult
when I would
following.
post,
It's like a cult following. And it's likely going to be a cult following.
feels
right?
like it could be, yeah. Like even when I posted about it, though, I even had friends though who were just like, "Wait, what is this movie? I've never heard of it."
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, because they're like, "What is it?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, here's the trailer to it. It's called Brightburn." I haven't heard what my coworker though has thought of it yet though, but yeah, I just saw plenty of people who were just like, "Man, I don't really know what this movie is though," and it's like, yeah, unfortunately, it hasn't been marketed. I go to the movies all the time though, even often rewatching movies, and yet despite doing that, I still have only seen the trailer for Brightburn once, and that was when I saw Miss Bala in theaters on opening weekend. That trailer was the best thing
Thanks.
I saw in that theater experience.
Who?
Miss Bala. It was a movie that came out like
Thanks.
about a few months ago now. I think it was like in January or February. And I would say it was pretty bad, and at least from what I could tell, it bombed at the box office.
How bad was
It
it?
was no wonder because that movie, it hardly was in there. I think it was in the theaters for like a month and then was
New kill
pulled
leader.
out.
Soon to be me.
Yeah, most movies would be there for like 3 or 4 months until they were released on DVD or Blu-ray. Blu-ray usually.
It's usually when it's released on digital, and even then, it can be longer than that. I still know that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was still in theaters even a little bit past after its digital release. Aquaman, it was in theaters for about until its digital release, then was pulled down. But yeah, Miss Bala, that movie was pulled down only a month after. And I'm imagining it's going to see a very quiet DVD release. And it often felt like basically that the movie was ending in such a way that they were hoping to make this basically a franchise for Gina Rodriguez. She's a great actress, but I really do not believe that she was suited for this movie, really. At least not yet.
Ooh, I found a good weapon. I got some nice stuff out of
So
it.
yeah, there's that though. If there's any other movie though that I'm really just crossing my fingers for is Terminator Dark Fate. I'm like, please be good. I know James Cameron has his hand on the wheel for this one, the first time since 1991. It's like, please be good.
Please
I
be
don't
good.
want this to be bad. Huh?
Yeah, Dark Fate. That sounds like a pretty good name for the movie. Good choice,
Yeah, it's officially, from what I could find, this is going to disregard all other movies, including T3, and is going to be serving as the final conclusion of the series, which I honestly feel like, yeah, that's
We're
something
down
I'd
to
be up
50%
for.
kids? Yeah, that's some pretty
Oh,
easy
right.
math.
A final conclusion after like the multiple convoluted time travel thing, like.
Yeah,
that's something
like,
that
it's
has-
wiping the slate clean. In this new one, Genesis, Salvation, and Terminator 3 did not happen. It's just T1 and T2 happened, but that's about it. And they're just rebooting the slate clean.
Thank you.
So what's the movie about exactly? Does it have a plot line or?
it seems like it's mainly just going to be just tying things together. The plot details are still very vague on it, though. I'm just waiting for the trailer to see whether or not I'll be excited or not. I'm gonna see it regardless, but even still, it's just a case of just wanting to not be there, though. But I do remember that then again, even when I saw the trailer for Genesis in junior year of high school and went, wow, this movie looks terrible, and at least from everything I've heard, it was. I mean, I still remember the trailers basically just getting rid of all the major plot points in the movie.
Oof.
Like, yeah, the marketing on it was really bad. Not so much in the trailers themselves, though I still thought they were bad, but that it was exposing way too much of the movie. Like, the people still weren't confident enough to really, like, oh, we really want to assure people that it will be good.
Check it out.
Which,
Care
yeah.
package coming in.
What movies have I remember? Hey, have you seen Venom? Like months ago?
I did. I thought it was bad, but I really
Oh
can't
my
act like it
God.
was like
Yeah.
one of the worst.
Yeah, have you seen my?
I couldn't really act
yeah.
like it was the worst thing ever or anything like that.
Have you
It
seen
to
my-
me
yeah.
just felt like standard bad.
Have you seen my tweet? Like in the movie, Venom and Eddie make out, and you can see
Yeah,
my little
I
my little
remember.
picture. It's like, what the fuck did I just read?
Saw that. I saw that, though. It's definitely very distracting, but again, I don't feel like dwelling on movies I don't like because it just, again, feels like a waste of my time. I watched that out of curiosity, I deemed not liking it, and so I moved on from it.
Wingman here.
Yeah, that is a very bizarre thing to hear to read the first time. Like that is like
I would imagine.
that is like top tier bizarre.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, and I'm resisting the urge to laugh because it's like, okay,
So yeah, so mainly hoping that Dark Fate, because I know that comes out in October. I'm like, really hope that ends up being really good, though, because I just really want to see a good one, though. Again, Terminator 3 for me I thought was okay. It starts to border on good, though, but then the bad parts just weigh it down to just okay. So I'm really hoping that they can pull through with this.
so what was wrong with Terminator 3? Pacing.
I would say the main
storylines?
things I disliked with it were, one, the making it to where having the Destiny narrative in it, even though the first two movies were really going away from that, because how the whole mantra of it was, the future's not set, there's no fate but what we make for ourselves. And then the sequel, and then Terminator 3 goes, oh no, actually things are predetermined. The Judgment Day is going to happen, and you are destined to be the leader of the resistance that will lead to victory. And it's just that contradicts what James Cameron always had for it. But I would say the stuff that was really good still hold up, though.
Yeah.
The Terminator is still charismatic as ever. I do find that its scenes, though, with John are still very much stuff that I love. The cemetery shootout and chase is still really awesome, and the action scenes still are really holding up well. It's just things of other ones, though, that I may discuss for another day.
Yeah.
But again, it was just okay, and I like it for what it's worth, though.
Oh, I found
Terminator
it.
Salvation for me was just a really bad, and I would say, in my opinion, just a terrible movie. Again, Genesis haven't watched, but still doesn't seem like, at least from what I saw in the
Havoc
trailers
here.
back then,
Hop up
was
here.
not going to
Skull
end up
piercer.
getting praises for me.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit of a lost for words, actually.
So yeah, that's why I just will end up saying all that, though.
Target
Yeah.
spotted. Enemy spotted.
So for me, that's why for Dark Fate, I'm really looking, hoping to see there, because at least the screenshots that I've seen, especially with Landa Hamilton
and clear.
returning, it looks like it actually can be really good, though, and I really hope they do well on this.
Yeah.
I have more confidence because, again, James Cameron has his hand on the wheel where he will be producing the movie.
And did he also do the Alita? Is Alita that Alita movie?
He produced that one, but he was trying to do that movie even as far back as the 90s, but between many projects that he was doing, he ended up often never being able to get around to it. So he hired Robert Rodriguez to do it. And I would say Robert Rodriguez actually did a really good job with it, though. So I would say it worked out well.
Have you seen the
but
movie?
if the box office is any indication, excuse me.
Yeah, have you seen the movie? Just curious. And yeah, back to your I did not mean to shoot. I did not mean my finger slipped.
Sorry, my family members in. But anyway, shit, I'm trying to remember what I was saying. For Alita, I saw it twice in theaters. I actually really liked it. I thought it was really good. But there is kind of the bad knowledge with it that unfortunately I know this movie's not getting a sequel based on its box office numbers. Basically, it did terrible in the US. It did pretty good in China, though, surprisingly, but it really didn't pull in the numbers that it needed. I think at best from the box office, it probably is going to break even.
That's so if there's going to be a sequel, it might take a while.
It's probably not going to be made, though, again, based on how it did in its box office run. Especially because, as many people pointed out, since Alita had a very fascist, not really fascist, but in general, an overthrow of the government story that happens in the manga, and China would not really like that happening in there.
If like this anti-fascist message, that really wouldn't go well.
Not so
with
much anti-fascist, but just in general overthrowing government thing, because China is definitely not fascist, but still, it's just that at least the government there doesn't like stories that end up involving that.
Very authoritarian. Got it.
Already in the next ring. I smell victory. It smells kind of like...
It's so weird that the alt-right would love that movie.
For me, it kind of comes to me as just being selective of it, though, as in just trying to pick a movie to like so that they can say that they're not sexist about it. And because I already know in any other circumstance they would say, like, I'll admit, even though I like the movie, there's some really fucking cringy dialogue in there. Like, I'm talking, like, really just like...
How bad?
Really just kind of bad.
Like,
I'm not going to say it's the worst thing ever, but I do admit that at times, though, it can just feel like a big eye-rolly thing and plenty of dialogue scenes.
Worse than...
Specifically, the romance scenes. So for me, them liking the movie honestly gives me really big suspicions over it, and especially how it makes me laugh, how ironically, Alita's super amazing at everything she does, but yet they love her but dislike Rey, though.
Or
but
Captain
of course,
Marvel, or Carol Danvers. It's just like
huge plot contrivance. For me, I already know they'll do the huge plot contrivance of, well, because see, she has her memories there, and so she can subjectively do that, and I'm supposed to take that as a non-contrived answer.
What?
Because basically the way with Alita is that she did get the training for what she does, but the thing is that always her memories specifically have always been her memories always walked away.
Excuse me, sorry, but it's just like that is
Just one step ahead of you.
Where her memories were basically just just basically are locked away because she can't really remember. But ironically, despite having no access to these memories, she's apparently still a super good fighter and was able to take on 3 guys, including the main guy, who is 10 times her size, and she really had no difficulty with it. And in fact, the one time she loses, it was because the guy had super amazing upgrades. And also reinforced joints.
Well, that sounds like a bunch of convenient bullshit.
And so, I honestly love it. The fight scenes were freaking great. So,
Yeah.
honestly, though, it was great to still see. But it makes me laugh how people, especially the people who are trying to stand Alita on this, is that they're willing to buy any sort of explanation just because she did do these things, even though her memories are still locked off and doesn't remember much of her military background. And yet, I would say they're still willing to buy that, though. Especially when all she has to do is that she kind of has to observe it, and then she's able to do it after, at worst, maybe one failure, in the case of the motorball thing that she does, where she only has 2 quote-unquote failures. The first time was where she was on the skates and didn't really know how to use them because she never wore them. So she falls on her ass once. Then the second time she does it, the failure in this was that the guy who was playing them punched her in the face because you can basically hit people in motorball. She didn't know that, so when she learned that was a rule, she ends up doing the same to him and ends up scoring a point.
Whoops. Anyway, have you read something about Ryan Johnson's reaction to the possibility of Rey's parentage being retconned?
Honestly, Ryan Johnson, I've seen, has no sort of seems to not really be concerned with it, especially because JJ himself seems to have no belief to doing so. And besides, he knows JJ and has even been in on it, and he doesn't seem the least bit concerned, so neither do I.
Yes. I just kind of feel funny weird that sites like IO9, Shice Kotaku, they seem to be pretty good at the clickbait stuff. Fair warning. Even though that they released an article about the crunch culture thing. It's, yeah. Just take some of the stuff from sites like these with a huge grain of salt. I wonder why BioWare took a shot at them.
BioWare took a shot at who?
Articles like that. Never mind.
Honestly, it's never really shocking when someone defends themselves from there, because why wouldn't you? But I do think, though, it could certainly have been handled a bit more professionally on this. But admittedly, especially from Schreier, though, he's a great reporter and definitely knows how to find the evidence. It's just that his conclusions at times so often feel like he starts to dab into the sensationalism area, which I really don't like.
He seems to come off to me as egotistical, and yeah, he takes credits for the things that other people did.
I don't think he's really egotistical, but again, though, it comes with it that he can always cite stuff. But the problem, though, is that it seems that at times, though, not all the time, but sometimes, he can dab into that sensationalist element, even somehow turning Dragon Age Inquisition into a failure, even though that game was the best-selling game for BioWare in years, way higher than anyone at the studio was expecting, and also was met with great critical reception.
How do you turn that to... How do you spin that into a failure? How? What does he have against... Sounds like he has a bit of a problem against them. Oh god, some of the people I've hanged out had a bit of a point, like...
So yeah, that's definitely the thing that I often see, because with Schreier, as many people have pointed out with it. But that's just the thing with it, though, is that at times, though, it seems as if it's not there. And again, it kind of comes across to me as anything do, where it's always that resistance to change, though. I mean, because I played the previous era of games, though, and honestly, for me, I often dislike how so many people try to treat the last gen, like specifically the sort of PS2 original Xbox era, as this golden age of gaming, when no, it was not. I still remember all the shovelware and shit games that were being launched because a brand could be attached to it. And the sheer
amount of shovelware for the Wii. Oh god, I remember those.
I love the Wii. It still gave me many of my most favorite memories, especially when playing with family. But yeah, a whole bunch of shovelware was often done in that area. So honestly, it feels like, it was an era that had its ups and downs just like any of them. And I really dislike how they often downplay the great games that have came out, though, just because they often want to preserve this quote-unquote golden age of gaming, which, in my opinion, never existed.
Yeah.
The reason I never like saying golden age is because it carries with it the attitude that somehow we've degraded from what that thing was.
Make gaming great again. Whatever the fuck that means.
It's why I always personally dislike, though, when it goes in there from that. And honestly, it just makes me always dislike that sort of thing. The only area where I accept golden age is specifically when someone talks about when something is the most relevant. Like saying the 80s and 90s was the golden age of rock, because that's when it was at its high point. Whereas these days, rock has very much nowhere near as much popularity as it used to. That's where I could consider more of a golden age in that respect.
That is fair.
But
that is fair. Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean by if you want to talk about when something was at its biggest.
When I relayed the news to Nicholas, he seemed irritated that it's he gets the impression that it's because EA and BioWare were easy targets.
Honestly, they kind of are, though, because again, though, there has never been a game that BioWare has made that hasn't been criticized. I even learned from Ask a Game Dev, because he actually remembered seeing it, because I was too young at the time. When Knights of the Old Republic came out, contrary to what a lot of people would like to tell you now, that game was given major backlash because it didn't have multiplayer.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a single-player focused game. Oh, you were reading all that? I'm way ahead of you. I read that. It's like, that seems new to me, and I actually asked someone, who had a bit of an issue with some of the press press recently, was like, so why did they give Mass Effect 3 and Dragon Age Inquisition good reviews? I mean, again, it always has been that resistance to change, though, on it, because, again, and when BioWare did that, because they were straying from their multiplayer routes, and now people want to treat it like BioWare was always single-player when they never were, and so, basically, every project they did was always met with some sort of opposition to it. I mean, really, Mass Effect 1 and 2 are the only games I can think of off the top of my head where they wasn't met with widespread, opposition.
Oh, I thought the game crashed.
No, it was just I was just talking on there since I didn't want to play and talk at the same time.
That's fair. Are you ever interested in playing D&D? My brother asked me if I would do a campaign called The Curse of Strahd. Though it's non-linearity, maybe gave me some pause because I'm more used to like more linear stuff. I'm a bit of a beginner. I've been looking to something from Eberron. Eberron, you know what Eberron is, right? One of the D&D settings where
Oh shit.
Ready up. It's go time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's
You made the right
it's a
choice
unique
this
setting
time.
where basically magic is like a way of life, like the technology.
Midday, all good with me.
Actually, I said it wrong. Magic as like a theme of science and technology. So low level magic you see everywhere, like internally burning lanterns, scrying mirrors, that sort of stuff. And the main continent that the game set out,
This is
just
your
came out
champion.
it's just came out
Losing
just
isn't
recently
fun.
after
That's why I don't
after
do it.
a century-long war that tore a kingdom apart into multiple nations. It plays off like pulp and noir. Brother and I are a big fan of that setting.
So yeah,
It's definitely
slurs all that.
it is definitely not like like Lord of the Rings. It's very different from Lord of the Rings and The Witcher. Though my brother's a bit fan of the Witcher.
I've always only disliked though that when something great comes along and then everyone just feels like they have to adhere to what it established rather than trying to do its own thing. I know, like I've seen like on Twitter not too long ago where people were talking about, despite probably the biggest push of cyberpunk that we can think of in recent memory, that wasn't the 80s, and yet ironically it seems that people have just seemed bored with it. Yeah, it's for all those
I
reasons
made a
that
tweet.
people
I made a
brought
bit of a tweet about
like victory.
because we seen that same perspective so many times before. Just
I don't know. Yeah, it just feels like everyone just basically just wants to try to be Blade Runner or some other thing though related to that.
I've heard some mixed things about. You ever heard of this little anthology thing called Love, Death, and Robots?
I've heard of it. It's one that I know has gotten a lot of controversy from it. I haven't watched it, so I can't really determine for that myself. I'm just going based on only what I have heard.
Yeah, I listened to what some people have said. Like how the female characters were portrayed in some of them, but others, some of the other anthologies like Three Robots, there are some really good segments in there.
Okay then.
I might see a segment or two, then move on because there are some really gross materials in there that just gave me pause.
I get it.
Yeah. Oh. If you really want to get Netflix, I recommend you go with like say Castlevania. There were some really good shows. Though the pacing can be a little slow at times because they release all the episodes at once per season.
Yeah, it's just that I still am not really used to the whole binging the whole thing because it is a more recent sort of way that people consume TV shows. It's just one I'm not used to because I'm used to the old school watch an episode and then wait next week to find out what happens.
Yeah, the CBS Access still goes with the old-fashioned way of watching TV shows.
I know Game of Thrones is still basically acting like that.
Yeah. I wonder what's gonna happen in Game. I hardly watched the show. I'll be honest, I haven't watched the show.
I did watch the first season a little while ago because I was sick and decided to go and watch some of it. I only saw the first season and I really liked what was there though, so I still have the HBO channel though on my Amazon Prime subscription, so I'll probably watch more. But yeah, I still remember going like, wow, this was actually really good though. I liked it. I can see why people loved it so much. And it definitely, from this, makes me understand why people feel like Benioff and Weiss would be super well for either the Old Republic era or even just something on Mandalorian culture, because they also deal very often in houses and clans and all sort of smaller subgroups.
Definitely for the Old Republic, because there's a lot of political stuff. Like, you saw it in the
And
in
considering
the
how the stuff in Westeros happens, yeah, I could easily see why people would think they'd be best suited for it. And yeah, I'm always up for it though. But for what it is though, I just say, what do I want from any of Benioff and Weiss's movies? Again, as I always say on anything, surprise me.
Yeah. There's going to be
Again, I feel like because I hold this mindset, I always end up doing the best with it, because my mindset with it always is surprise me, since I don't get attached to any one idea.
That's a very good thing to live by. There's going to be like there's going to be a Monsters Inc. Spin-off on Disney Plus. I'm thinking about subscribing to that once it comes up.
Oh, I'm definitely subscribing to it for the Mandalorian and that Cassian Andor show, but definitely for
And the Marvel
I'll
and
be
the
keeping an eye out
Marvel
for
shows.
things.
There's like What If, the Loki show, Scarlet and the Vision, the Scarlet Witch, Falcon, and
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of material, a surprising amount of material.
So definitely I'll be subscribing when it's there. I just hope that the subscription already comes out on Xbox though when they release it.
Oh, ditto,
Probably will be, but I hope so.
ditto.
Because I would really hate to have to only be able to view it either on my phone or on a computer.
All right, we're inside the ring.
We're in the circle.
The Circle of Life. Huh. That's actually pretty apt.
What I need is more heavy ammunition.
Attention.
Yo, speaking of Disney, I've heard that the Dumbo live action movie isn't really good.
What is it?
The Dumbo movie, the remake.
Oh, I've heard as well that it's actually pretty bad. I have heard that as well.
It looks good too. What went wrong?
I think it's because it seems like it's really trying its hardest to not really recreate the whole Black Crow situation.
Oh.
And so, and also because of the whole, hey, making animals perform for people is kind of fucked up in its own way.
Yeah.
And so it also seems like, at least from what I've heard of reviews, it addresses this, but not in any real manner.
So.
Like, it's sort of a shallow thing, though. Like, it wants to, it tries to present an idea, but it never really goes through with what it presents.
Yeah, have its cake and eat it too. It's kind of hard to do that without, trying to know what you're doing. I really hope Aladdin...
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I really hope Aladdin... Because I've seen the latest trailer for Aladdin, and there's this one part where the genie just, summons this random person out of the distance, and it's like... And that made me laugh my ass off. And
People have said the second trailer was better for it. It's just in general, I kind of never really cared much for the Disney remakes, but once again, I just didn't watch them because I just don't have interest in them.
Right.
If people have interest, though, I go, that's awesome. It's just, I haven't, though, because I just prefer the originals.
Have you seen Lindsay Ellis's essay on Beauty and the Beast live action remake?
I did. I love that video.
Yeah, same. Oh shit!
They've laid traps.
And again, it kind of goes into that same thing though with where she basically is talking about those things though, about how trying your hardest to basically constantly address the logical stuff and feeling this need to over-explain everything is what will cause your movie to suffer. And again, that's why I always dislike what Mahler brings in for that mix, because I dislike when.
Because
I always
fictional
dislike
works,
when they
movies,
feel like you have
games,
to
whatnot, not meant to be logical situations to solve or mathematical equations. They rely on emotions.
Because again, I've never felt the need for a movie to kind of explain to me all the intricacies, because otherwise we'll never have the time to get to the interesting stuff.
Yeah, it just like takes away the magic in at for lack of a better term. It takes away the magic, slows down pacing. Some explanation is nice if you want to establish some world building or whatnot.
Again, I always personally say that when it comes to anything, especially if it for explanations, I personally never really need them most of the time, though, because again, I just feel like I can just learn that in some other time. Or there's this thing with this thing called imagination that people have been using for like thousands of years. I can use that too.
Yeah. I admit I use exposition in my works, and I hope I did my best to make it seem organic, natural, and not get in the way of pacing. Why do people insist on adding in, like, explain this illogical thing?
Again, it mainly comes from culture. While people think that CinemaSins was for it, I really don't think they spearheaded it afterwards. They'd be more closer to a drip in the bucket for this thing. It's mainly been on the side of more people like the Mueller types, or especially the Desire Wolf types, who often always try to insist that because of a movie they don't like, which at least from what I found when going online, people have a very difficult time, surprisingly, just talking about why exactly a movie didn't go was something they didn't like, and they always insist it's all these other explanations. My
brother wanted to point out that the important thing about fiction is not breaking the suspension of disbelief. Willing suspension, and these explanations would very likely break up. That's my in addition.
Because again, though, I've never. Yeah, exactly. As you said, it breaks immersion, though, when something really cool happens and they feel the need to explain it. When if you even so much as use your imagination, you'll be fine. Like the one that I infamously always think of that people bring up. Well, if hyperspace ramming is so effective, even though it was only used once, and just because of that one time, it's seen as somehow being consistently effective, why didn't people use it? My mind goes to, does the tactic involve suicide? Yes. There's your answer why it will rarely be used.
It was used in a moment of desperation, and my cat is headbutting my bed for some reason.
And also, you can never say just because this one time it was effective means that every time it would have been, though. That's honestly a pretty far reach to be able to say,
Bird,
though.
How you doing, buddy? Hey, Bird, what you want to?
All right, well, I'm gonna go because I'm just gonna go eat dinner, though.
Yeah,
since I
it's
really
been fun.
It's
been fun.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun, though, being able to talk again.
Yeah.
We'll
hopefully we'll play
do
Anthem
another
next
stream
time.
next month.
Yeah, hopefully we'll play Anthem next time.
Next time we'll definitely hit up Anthem.
Assuming assuming there's no like bullshit as well. I had enough of that.
Yeah, it was mainly because after especially this DA4 news, which I say, look, I'm not some Dragon Age fan. I've only played a little of Inquisition and not any of the others. So it felt like, I don't feel like playing Anthem after that. So probably next time on this.
Understandable. Though it's a bit of a shame, and I'm kind of surprised about it. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely go and play that next time, and so I'll talk to you later then.
All right. It's been a good run. Without that, we kept on dying.
Good run, though.
All right.
Yeah. Not good at this game, but at least it's fun to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, have a good night, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.